Now, I was inspired by one of my brothers. Shouts out to creator Monthly Butter. But he sent me a video, right? And it was Freddie Price Jr., the old preacher, right? And he was talking about reparations, and some of the things it stood out, and then it struck a chord with me, and it had me thinking. Now, if a righteous man of God can sit there and know that reparations is good for black people and good to be paid for black people, why don't other pastors and congregations of the faith accept and acknowledge and voice their opinion about what is owed to black people? So I just want you to hear out some of the key speakers that I'm gonna be bringing out tonight. Shouts out to the content creator Monthly Butter for giving me the idea for the video. But we just gonna go over it. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna go over some of the talking points tonight on reparations, why it should be paid. Let's go back.
So we played Monopoly the other night, and I didn't take any money. I wanted to take the place of the slaves that were emancipated in 1865, who did not get the 40 acres or the mule. And so I took nothing. Now, I survived for a few times around the board, but I couldn't buy nothing. And it was very soon I was out of the game. Now you would say that that is unfair to have somebody sit down at a table and play Monopoly and not give them the $1,500 to start with. But that's what this country did with our people when they emancipated us. And then have the audacity, the unmitigated gall to wonder why we don't do better. And you started out with $1,500 and we started out with nothing. And they know that if we ever let these black people get equality, that they will take over. They will be on the top of everything. And watch this. Every place they have let us in, we rose to the top. Every place.
So I want to know what you think, how you feel about that. Some people would sit there and they would say, well, you black people, all you got to do is pull yourself up by your bootstraps and everything will be okay with y'all. You Negroes, you colored people, y'all don't work hard enough. And if you just go to school and if you do this and you do that, but then they fail to realize what was done to your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, sharecropping happened right after slavery. You know what I'm saying? Our grandparents had an option. They would either freeze in the cold and die of nourishment, or they would go back to the plantation that they just came from and work and be in indentured slavery all over again. Well, I'm sorry, not indentured, but in servitude all over again. And as I look at it, okay, where is the freedom? The only thing that really changed when they set your grandparents free is that white people would be charged for murder. That's the only thing that changed. You know what I'm saying? You would look at it, you would be all like, well, what really happened to your people? What was good? What was the pros? What was the cons? And as I look at the historical facts, the only thing that really changed before that, if a white man just killed the black person, he wouldn't go to prison, he wouldn't go to jail, he wouldn't be fined, he wouldn't be sentenced, he wouldn't be sent to the gallows. But after that time, you know what I'm saying? After that time, when your people was right back into sharecropping, that's the only thing that changed for him. If a white man came out and beat him to death, that by law, that white man would go to jail for it. But other than that, didn't anything change? And that was right after they set your people, your grandparents free. Now, it's very important for our vote. It's very important. But then when we don't have people to vote for, we don't have people up there that have our best options and opinions out there for us, doesn't nothing really matter. But does it matter that black folk vote, get up off their boat, and vote, yeah. It's just the fact that if we had people to vote for, if we had good people up there that had, they was looking at us, you know what I'm saying? They was looking at us like, man, I'm going to actually do something for my people. Man, I'm going to stand up with my political power and actually do something for my people. So is it important that we vote? Yes, it is. It's just a damn shame that we don't really have anybody to vote for. It was so many different people sitting over there talking about, oh, we didn't vote for Kamala Harris and every black person didn't vote and this and that. It's just the fact that you would have more votes. You would have more supporters if they was willing to do. We really don't care if it's the Republicans or Democrats. If they do something for black people. So is it important that we vote? Yes. It's important. It's just a damn shame that we don't never have nobody good up there that want to do good by us.
Now I'm introducing a reparation bill for the descent.
My bad. Let's go back.
This bill is intended to assist African Americans that are trapped in poverty. After 400 years of free labor, the effect of slave trade are long-standing. This is a national issue. As a result, the community suffer in economic, education, health, housing, and unemployment. Help me support this bill by calling Alderman and State Representative. Thank you.
I will be voting this election. Wherever I'm at, that's where I care about. You know what I'm saying? If I was in Texas right now, I would care about the politics in Texas. So I would get out there and vote. And with this alderman right here, this is good. It's just a damn shame what happened to our brothers and our sisters in Chicago. What happened, Jehosa? They spent all the money in black communities on the immigrants. Start closing down schools and reopening for immigrants. The homeless people out here, you know what I'm saying? The homeless brothers and sisters, it really wasn't no money or funds for them, but they were sitting up over there putting all them immigrants in high-rise buildings, cutting them a fat $1,500 check every single month. They were sitting up over there giving them thousands and thousands of dollars in food stamps. So black Chicago suffered because the money that was supposed to be given to them, invested in their communities and infrastructure in black people, was taken and given to an outside group. So like I said before, it's not bad that we vote. We should vote. You know what I'm saying? Just like I'm telling y'all now, I didn't know this before I decided to know the video. You know what I'm saying? I decided to make this video. But now I know that you got stand up people. It's just, who are we going to invest the black vote in? People like this? Oh, he got it.
Hi, I'm Dr. Willie Wilson. Now I'm introducing a reparation bill for the descendants of slavery in Chicago, Cook County, Illinois. This bill is intended to assist African Americans that are trapped in poverty. After 400 years of free labor, the effect of slave trade are long-standing. This is a national issue. As a result, the community suffer in economic, education, health, housing, and unemployment. Help me support this bill by calling Alderman and State Representative. Thank you.
Brother, you got it. You know what I'm saying? Brother, you got it. You know what I'm saying? You got my vote.
Campaign all over this country to start publicizing the issue of reparations for black folk. Not as something nice, but as a necessity, period. That means every living soul, every organization, every corps, every institution in this country must begin to start promoting reparations for black folk all over this country. That's level one.
This is what being on code is about right now. It's 2025, right? This is what being on code looks like. This is what being on code is about. This is what we're talking about. So you see any of our outside groups and they not focused. They're not pinpointing on what we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? What we're talking about. This is the issue. We can't deviate. We can't get off the path. We can't turn to the left. We can't turn to the right. We can't worry about immigrations. We can't worry about foreign wars at abroad. We can't worry about any of those things. But what we can sit up here and we can talk about and we can asphyxiate about and we can bring to the forefront of all our people minds is this one topic. That's it. That's all. Until it is paid off. This is what getting on code is about. This is what getting on code looks like for black people here in this country.
Massive promotion of reparations for black folk. Second level, level 2. What we must do at second level 2 now is to start having facts-finding hearings. You must have facts-finding hearings all over this country. And you're going to have facts-finding hearings on at least 2 different levels. One is you're going to go after facts-finding about what roles governments have played in the reparations, in the slavery trade against black folk, and enslavement of black folk, the marginalization of black folk. And that should break down into 2 levels. One is to investigate all levels of domestic governments, that's city, county, federal, and state governments. And the second group would go after international. So you should have 2 groups of black folk in this country exploring and fact-finding on what roles government have played. One domestically and one internationally. On the left-hand side, you should be doing the same thing for the domestic side. You should be going after the private sector. You should be going after all the private corporations in the United States, what roles they played and how they benefited directly from slavery. And also, on the same side, you must go after all the international corporations and the roles they played and how they benefited. Now, the Harvest Institute right now, my think tank, we've already picked up one. We put out a press release on that. We're going after domestic role that major corporations played in the United States. We've already identified approximately 240 companies that are still in existence that profiteer directly and enrich themselves off of black folk. We're going after that. And what we have to do in our fact finding is be able to factuate, document.
Do you hear what Dr. Claude Anderson just said? He said it's over 250 companies that profited from slavery all the way into this day. They still got money turning and twisting and changing hands. They still making all these damn investment off the back of our great grandparents. And some black people they think that's okay. They think that it's all right that we never really had generational wealth to pass to our people. But once more again, the only black people that's fighting against us, the 13%, because it's only 13 to 20% of black people is the ones that were handmade and given their positions. And you be all like, what you mean? Is this a form of tokenism? Yes, it is, because for some reason they feel as if they can pick out a couple of us and give them butter biscuits and give them tokens and give them cars and them shoes. And they gonna fight against us for our heritage. They gonna fight against us for our straight up generational wealth, our heritage that should have been passed down so long ago. Now, that's one factor in it. But also, what about all the things that were stolen from the people? We're not going to talk about the lakes that were drowned out and all the cities that were burned. You know what I'm saying? All the cities that were burned. What about the wealth that was stolen from your people? That all has to add up to something. You know what I'm saying? And that number right there is a big number.
Direct line between how blacks have been crippled all the way up to economically, politically, socially, and educationally, and tied into these major corporations or tied into levels of government. That's your level 2. Level 3, you must then start having a national convention in this country. And right now, I think Dorothy Tillman in Chicago is already, we talked about this. She's going to try to call one in Chicago this coming year. We must have everybody who's playing a role, like Congressman Conyers and everybody from Congress and Cobra, everybody should be at a national convention where we all come in there to not only energize each other, but to share information, see where we are. They're trying to set it up for this coming February, someplace in the United States, possibly Chicago. That's your 3rd level. The 4th level you should start doing is trying to get into, out of this conference should come strategies and plans and a specific role model. You got to have a model that every black can tie into, a model for reparations. Now, my model's a little different from everyone else's, and that's because I'm outside the box. I'm trying to pull everybody else outside if I can get them. Now, most people are going to try to follow the Jewish reparations model or the Japanese model. I'm following the Indian model. The Indians are the most appropriate model if you want to track down, do anything to get reparations of black folk. Why? Because you see, only American Indians and black folk were spelled out in the Constitution. The Indians on reservations and black folk. There's a direct lineage between those 2 groups. And if you really want to track to get reparations, the easiest and quickest way is to go find out what happened to American Indians, what benefits they got, and track in my new book called Power Numbers. It takes you through every one of those steps you can follow. If you pick that up, you can come right to reparations very quickly, because it'll be very difficult for the government to deny black folk the same thing they're giving the Indians. So when you hear people talking about how bad off Indians are, first thing you say, fine, if Indians that bad off, put us as black folk in the same status with the Indians. We'll take that. Because see, right, what Indians got, see, first of all, nobody declared Indians to be a nation. Indians declared themselves to be a nation. They declared themselves to be a nation all the way up to about 1832 when Supreme Court Justice Marshall said, okay, I'll recognize you as a nation. We never declared ourselves to be a nation. We've always tried to do just the opposite of what the Indians did. Once they became a nation, they drew up a constitution for themselves. We never had a constitution. And what the Indians did with that constitution is then to go to the United States government and say, we do not want to integrate. We did just the opposite. We integrated. And I can track everything right down, or we can follow the Indian model if you want to. And you can see, and all that's already built into the law, and there's a direct lineage between American Indians and black folk that you can follow very easily and get to reparations. But we need to have a model. And in my new book, I get that model to be on the stand in about another month. You get the Power Numbers model that take you through all those steps of what they did throughout history, from the Blair Amendments and everything else. You can track it very easily, and it'd be very difficult for the United States government to deny you reparations when you only two people that have a constitutional relationship with this government is black folk and Indians. Just like Indians use what they call natural rights and lay a claim against the land, we should use natural law and lay a claim against our labor, misappropriated labor.
There was this whole question of slavery in the United States, which slaves, as we were miscalled, were doing unpaid labor. And the present-day value of such labor is estimated at $1.4 trillion.
Now, why I put our elder in the background is because I don't want nobody to sit up here and fool my people and say that they don't know where this money is coming from when all they do is print money. They print money that has no value in this country. That's all they get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? They get in trouble. They get in some type of man-made crisis that they made for themselves, or maybe bad dealings with other countries, and they just print more money and they devalue the dollar that we already got. Every year we hear, well, you know, the value of a dollar, it just went down another 10 cents. You know, it went down another 15 cents. How much is the dollar worth? Well, maybe it'd be worth 50 cents. So before people sit up there and they tell me that, oh, we don't know where the money's coming from, Jehoshaphat, we don't know. They have money for endless wars, endless money every single year for endless wars, meaning they're not going to stop being a warmongering people putting out billions and trillions of dollars towards war. They got a company, right? And this company will sit up there every single year and shoot up billions of dollars into outer space. So they can't sit here and tell me that they don't have no money. They sit, our government sits every single year and tries to help all these different regions throughout the world. So you can't sit up here and tell me, well, you know, Joseph, we ain't got no money. Well, damn it, you need to print some more money then.
Or reparations. Who ends up paying for it? Let me ask, just as a community.
I can tell you that. I feel that the Democratic Party should pay reparations to blacks, because it was in the 1800s when the Republicans, which was known as abolitionists, separated from the Dixiecrats because they did not want to continue slavery. So after the abolitionists helped black people become Republicans and they changed their name, black people were able to own businesses. They was able to create the Black Wall Street, Rosewood. They were the most wealthiest communities in the United States. And so it was the Democratic Party who created the Ku Klux Klan, and the Klan were the ones who hated the blacks for creating Black Wall Street, and that's why they dropped the bomb on Black Wall Street. It was the Klan that did that. Anybody owes black people money and reparation, it should be the Democratic Party.
This is
Talk about the reparations that America has engaged.
First of all, America has never given any reparations to black Americans for what has happened to us. The only evidence of America even trying to do so was following the Civil War, when the government defeated the Confederates, and the Union Army was marching through Savannah, Georgia, and led by General Sherman. 17,000 black people were leaving plantations and following the Union Army as they were defeating the Confederates and going through Savannah, Georgia. General Sherman sent a letter to President Lincoln, and he said to President Lincoln, I have all of these Negroes following me. What should I do? And President Lincoln wrote him a letter back and responded to say, ask the Negroes, what do you want? And so General Sherman met with 20 black clergymen. Many of them had been formerly enslaved. And he asked them, what do you want? We want land.
Now, I asked the question for tonight. Okay, now you've seen how your people was given what they wanted. Now, how differently would times be now if they were just left alone to their own devices, able to flourish in the cities that they were building? You've seen how fast when they started to prosper that it was attack on your grandparents in this country, and they burned them down and they read them out, and they had all those race riots to where they was hanging and shooting and killing and burning and pillaging. It sound like a war, doesn't it? It sounds like a great war that just carries on and keep on going. But I asked the question for tonight. Would we be asking for some reparations if we were just left the hell alone? And the answer to that question is no, we wouldn't be asking for no damn reparations if we were left alone, able to build, able to flourish, able to consume, to build. I think at this point in our time, I think in this point in our history, if we would have had that, if we didn't have all them attacks on what we were building, remember, your brother, I come from California. The most beautifulest thing I have ever seen was when they took us on the trip when I was a little kid to Ans Leavenworth. And Ans Leavenworth was an all-black town built in California with just black folk. And they did every single thing to get those black folk up out that town, to close it down. Now it's a national park. The place was so beautiful, family. When I became older, I had to take a trip out there all over again, all by my damn self, just to look around. And when I was there, even though I was monitored by all of them people, because when people were watching me, it wasn't a lot of people. I felt free, family. I felt free in a town that black folk built. Beautiful, you know what I'm saying? Beautiful town, beautiful homes in the early 1880s. So I ask again, you know what I'm saying? Would black folk be sitting up here asking for some reparations if we were left alone in the beginning?
Give this video to every black person that you know, because the California Reparations Task Force floats $223,000 per black person who is a descendant of American slavery. Seriously, I reported on this the other day and people doubted me. I told y'all they were talking about dollar amounts. And now we have a dollar amount. So let's get deeper into this story.
Now, our brothers and sisters in California, they're just driving them out. They really are. You know what I'm saying? They driving them out. The ones that actually got a foothold, they actually got roots and ties in. It's going to be harder for them to move. But other than that, you know what I'm saying? When you make a place so high in rent, how they going to be able to afford? So what I see in California is the population itself driving, just not the government, just not the government. The government is a factor in it, but the population, the people who live there in California, is pushing black people out. It's one thing to make black folk not be able to support their rent. Then it's another thing to terrorize them in their communities. So you got these two factors. It's like an open war. It's like, you know what I'm saying? How can they ever say that we have not been attacked and we're not under war? And I'm telling you, in my home state, this is what I see. And I'm seeing the government sitting up over there, making it so much money to where black folk they're going to be kicked out because they can't afford it. Then on the other side, the population there is driving them out with all their racism. You know what I'm saying? All their racism and all their gang war and all their turfs is driving your people up out of California because they can't survive.
And so the California Reparations Task Force, who was appointed by Governor Gavin Newsom, projects that black state residents could be eligible for as much as $223,000 per person as part of an effort to redress.
Now, let me address this. Now, the pushback against reparation. Now, the day when we're paid reparation, it's a form of liberty towards black people. That's what so many different people are scared of. The liberation of black men and black women in this country. What do you mean? I was listening to an economist talk about how much money $1 trillion is. What you can spend it on, what you can buy with it, how much money it is. And just on $1 trillion, to be honest with you, if you had $1 trillion, you can do anything. There's nothing you cannot do with $1 trillion. You could do anything. So when you look at the numbers of what's supposed to be paid out to black people, that's liberation. That's what so many different people are scared of. That's what so many different people are fighting against. They don't want to see black folks liberated. We ain't never been liberated in this country like that. Don't let them trick you. Don't let them fool you. So when you talk about the topic of reparation and people that are against it, it's because they don't want to see black people liberated for the first time in their history. That's what they're fighting against.
Historical racism.
Liberation.
And this will be limited to foundational black Americans, freedmen, or black descendants of American slavery. I told y'all this was coming.
Okay, since I have drugged this video out for so long, and I feel like I put in all my key points and all my talking points, and I addressed a different gang of talking points, and then I feel as I addressed why it's being paid. But we're going to go ahead and leave it with our brother Ta-Nehisi Coates. You know what I'm saying? Is he going to bring it in for the win for your brother Israel for tonight? So we're going to end this right here with our brother Ta-Nehisi and see what he has to say about it. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed the video and you have processed thought and thought about it yourself. So all you have to do is comment, like, subscribe, and share. And, you know, with your brother Israel, we be good.
None of us currently alive are responsible. This rebuttal proffers a strange theory of governance, that American accounts are somehow bound by the lifetime of its generations. But well into this century, the United States was still paying out pensions to the heirs of Civil War soldiers. We honor treaties that date back some 200 years, despite no one being alive who signed those treaties. Many of us would love to be taxed for the things we are solely and individually responsible for. But we are American citizens, and thus bound to a collective enterprise that extends beyond our individual and personal reach. It would seem ridiculous to dispute invocations of the founders or the greatest generation on the basis of a lack of membership in either group. We recognize our lineage as a generational trust, as an inheritance. And the real dilemma posed by reparations is just that, a dilemma of inheritance. It is impossible to imagine America without the inheritance of slavery. As historian Ed Baptist has written, enslavement, quote, shaped every crucial aspect of the economy and politics of America, so that by 1836, more than 600 million.
Let's break it down. What does he mean? Before they had your people in bondage, they didn't have nothing called insurances. Just because we were enslaved in this country, started a business called insurances. Now look how insurances have grown. This is what we're talking about. Okay, before your people was enslaved in this country, it was something called slave catchers. The slave catchers turned into what we call now modern day policing. This is why we say, you know what I'm saying, black people, we influenced everything about this country. Everything, you know what I'm saying? There is nothing that has not been influenced by us in this country.
Almost half of the economic activity in the United States derived directly or indirectly from the cotton produced by the million-odd slaves. By the time the enslaved were emancipated, they comprised a large...
And then people wonder why the South wanted to succeed from the North. If you only knew how much money your people were making and producing off of free labor. Oh, you know, Jehoshaphat, you know, my ancestors, you know, they was working real hard, Jehoshaphat. They got paid off the exploitation of black people. Well, you know, Jehoshaphat, not everybody owned a slave. Man, they had my people on auction blocks. Hey, let's put it this way. If you didn't own a slave, that means you were really poor and you were dumb. You know what I'm saying? You were poor and you were dumb. You had the option for centuries, hundreds of years to benefit off of somebody else's work, and your people were dumb and they didn't want to do it. You know what I'm saying? So exploitation. Okay, go ahead. My bad.
Largest single asset in America. $3 billion in $1860, more than all the other assets in the country combined. The method of cultivating this asset was neither gentle cajoling nor persuasion, but torture, rape, and child trafficking. Enslavement reigned for 250 years.
This is why it's so hard for me to feel sorry for immigrants. They show the immigrants being torn away from families, and I feel nothing. Why I don't feel nothing? Because for 400 years in this country, it was child sex trafficking in this country, and it was legal. And for some reason in people's minds, they don't think nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? You just had sex trafficking in this country for 400 years against black people, and you don't think it's something wrong with that? But hold up. After all of that has been said and done, they just supposed to be okay. They supposed to be all right. Ain't nothing supposed to happen to them. Ain't nothing supposed to be wrong. They're not supposed to carry the past with them all the way to the future. They don't have nothing on them, no transmission of anything that's on them. They perfectly fine. That's a lie. Black people been scarred in this country for 400 years, and we still ain't been healed yet. Ain't had a chance to heal yet. Why is that? Because we're constantly under attack. Look at our history now and how it's under attack. Our current day history, things that we have done now within the last 50 years is under attack in this country.
Years on these shores. When it ended, this country could have extended its hallowed principles, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness to all regardless of color. But America had other principles in mind. And so for a century after the Civil War, black people were subjected to a relentless campaign of terror. A campaign that extended well into the...
That's why, your brother, I tell y'all, I don't know what was better. What happened to your people before, while they were in bondage, or what America did to your people afterwards. You know what I'm saying? Afterwards, which one do you want to pay for? You know what I'm saying? Which one? I don't know which one was better, family. What happened to your people while we were enslaved in this country, or what happened to us when we were set free? Even better things happened to us when we were set free.
Lifetime of Majority Leader McConnell. It is tempting to divorce this modern campaign of terror, of plunder, from enslavement. But the logic of enslavement, of white supremacy, respects no such borders. And the god of bondage was lustful and begat many heirs. Coup d'etats and convict leasing, vagrancy laws and debt peonage, redlining and racist GI bills, poll taxes and state-sponsored terrorism. We grant that Mr. McConnell was not alive for Appomattox, but he was alive for the electrocution of George Stinney. He was alive for the blinding of Isaac Woodward. He was alive to witness kleptocracy in his native Alabama and a regime premised on electoral theft. Majority Leader McConnell cited civil rights legislation yesterday, as well he should, because he was alive to witness the harassment, jailing, and betrayal of those responsible.
Okay, it's 2025, right? Why is it no different than the past? Ain't they right now in certain places in this country trying to attack black folk from voting? What do you mean? Giving them dumbass rules and dumbass regulations, keeping them back from actually voting. So once more again, how is it any different that was happening to your people? Okay. They didn't have the whole KKK mob out there telling black people with dogs and guns, telling black people, oh, you black people don't come over here and vote. They did it in a different way with rules and regulations. So how is it any different?
For that legislation by a government sworn to protect them. He was alive for the redlining of Chicago and the looting of black homeowners of some $4 billion. Victims of that plunder are very much alive today. I am sure they'd love a word with the Majority Leader. What they know, what this committee must know, is that while emancipation deadbolted the door against the bandits of America, Jim Crow wedged the windows wide open. And that is the thing about Senator McConnell's something. It was 150 years ago, and it was right now. The typical black family in this country has 1/10 the wealth of the typical white family. Black women die in childbirth at 4 times the rate of white women. And there is, of course, the shame of this land of the free, boasting the largest prison population on the planet, of which the descendants of the enslaved make up the largest share. The matter of reparations is one of making amends and direct redress, but it is also a question of citizenship. In H.R. 40, this body has a chance to both make good on its 2009 apology for enslavement and reject fair-weather patriotism, to say that a nation is both its credits and its debits, that if Thomas Jefferson matters, so does Sally Hemings, that if D-Day matters, so does Black Wall Street, that if Valley Forge matters, so does...
Y'all see the white man in the background look like he about to cry. You know what I'm saying? He's been sitting there listening to your brother speak for all that time. And if you start off the video from the beginning, you see his expressions. Now we to the end of our brother speaking, and he looked like he's gonna break down. You know what I'm saying? He looks like he's about to cry or something. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh my God, that's been done to black people, and we're not doing anything about it.
Pillow. Because the question really is not whether we will be tied to the somethings of our past, but whether we are courageous enough to be tied to the whole of them. Thank you.